Hi there, I'm Ahsan Ali Shaw, and you are watching me on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live. And today we are going to talk about mental health, significance of mental health, and how to improve it. Especially, we are going to focus on the natural remedies to improve mental health. And mental health is a social, psychological, and emotional well-being of a person. And mental health comprises of four main elements: is working on yourself, realizing your full potential and working on yourself. Secondly, learning to deal with your stress in a healthier way. And thirdly, doing the productive work. And fourth is making contribution to the society. When this is the WHO's World Health Organization's definition of mental health, that when you have four these elements, then you are moving in the right direction, or at least three, two, one, or at least you are doing the productive work, managing your stress in a healthier way, and working on yourself. And thirdly is making contribution to the society. Then you are in the right direction of mental health. And today we are going to talk about natural remedies, and it's a roundtable discussion. And my guests are Jackie McGrath. She has joined us from Queensland, Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. And Gary Murk. He has joined us from Alberta, Canada. And
Hmm.
Jodie Skelli. She has joined
There
us
she is.
from she has joined us from the US. How are you guys?
It's
Very
Friday,
well,
right?
thank
Good.
you.
Yes, it's Saturday morning here in Asia and
Well, lucky
Australia.
you. I'm still on Friday, so I'll take my
Yes,
Friday over your Saturday because my Saturday's tomorrow.
yes.
I don't want to jump the gun.
We have already jumped the gun, and Jackie is ahead all of us, aren't you,
Yes,
Jackie?
it's nearly 12 midday here.
Yeah, I've just finished my breakfast, Saturday's breakfast.
You just
So
finished
So,
your
did I.
breakfast.
So did
yeah,
I.
God, we got breakfast,
At
lunch,
midday.
supper, and somewhere in between going on. So if you're
Look
snacking in
how
yeah.
between, that
colorful
all
Gary
works, right?
is.
Gary is always colorful. All of you guys are colorful. Look at Jackie. Look at you, Jody.
Yeah, I'm in
Oh,
black.
somebody's got a smile.
How are you?
So, yeah,
Is
the
it,
topic
that? I think
is
that's a great way to start it off. Mental health. Smile.
yes,
Smile.
smile,
Hmm.
Smile.
smile.
Keep
Smile is
smiling.
the
No
best
matter
natural
what.
remedy.
Keep smiling. Okay.
Yeah,
Smiles and
Amanda.
laughter.
Smiles,
Yes.
laughter.
Mm.
You know what? Surround yourself with good people, good things. If they're not good people, walk away from them. They're not good things, walk away from them. Okay. Uh, don't set yourself
Yeah,
up.
Amanda. Hey, Lupita. How are you guys?
Oh, look at we go
Okay.
here. I've been very busy, as some see, or some know, or some don't know. Okay. But busy's good, right?
Yes.
It's good. Hi, Gary.
Yes,
How
indeed.
are you?
I'm doing
Yes, indeed.
beautiful, Jody.
Yes, indeed. I'm
I'm
going to
glad.
start our discussion with you, Gary, and the mental health and natural remedies. And how do you start a discussion? I think I would start it with the smile and with the laughter. I think
Yeah.
is the best remedy ever. When you
Oh, yeah,
smile, then
absolutely.
or when you raise your hands, it means are you are relieving stress out of your body.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, everything is in a natural flow around us except for humans. Okay, humans are the only ones that are not in a natural flow of things. We keep on going against the flow. We keep on jumping into the rabbit holes of the flows of the others. We go down all the media channels, the television channels, the governmental channels, and then we wonder out why we're filled with mental duress. Hmm. I wonder,
That's
where does it
very
start?
good.
You know, choice. Choice is where it starts. Choice to smile. But rather than just smile to an outside world, is smile to the self. if you can't smile to yourself, how do you expect to smile to the outside world? You know, it doesn't matter. If you do not have a smile for yourself, the smile that you will wear going out the door is the same thing as putting on the masks. It's a mask. Okay. And those of us that are very sensitive to energies and sensitive to life, we're gonna see it. You're a walking time bomb. You got a smile on you, but you know what? You're a time bomb. So I'm not walking into any time bombs. Okay. So one of the beautiful things is, again, as we said, started out with a smile, laughter. Find something that makes you laugh. You know what? If it means watching The Simpsons, and don't go down the rabbit holes of all the controversies surrounding The Simpsons. Just, you know what? Laugh. And if that doesn't cut it for you, I just watched a fireman arrive here, okay, to get a cat out of the tree that was way, way, way up at the top of the tree and didn't want to come down. And it took 6 firemen to figure out how to get this cat down.
I want to be that cat.
Yeah, but how much did it cost the How much did it cost the taxpayer to send out 2 fire trucks and 12 firemen to rescue a cat?
I don't know, but it was worth it.
How long does it take them to get it down?
They didn't. Cat was more stubborn than them. You know? So go to think of it now. If I was up in that tree, hanging at the top of the limbs, screaming for help, you know, basically, you know, it's like you know, they would have just had a trampoline down below and said jump. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but
she would get down by herself.
Sometimes they do. I mean, not all cats do. You know, the one thing about cats is if you have a birder cat has 6 toes, so they're rare and few, but they will go up and down a tree just like a bird will. I mean, they're not afraid of the heights. They're not afraid of getting up on the top of the trees. I mean, I had a birder. I could watch them jump from one tree to the other. The other cats get up there and they get all the ways up. They think they're smart, but now they look down and they go, uh-oh, can't get down. Okay. And they start crawling out for help and all of this. Okay. So we're like cats in many ways. We will climb a mountain to scream for help, but we don't want to come down from that mountain. We want to sort of stay in the you know, in the pity and the wallow in it a little bit. And, you know, maybe we're trying to say like, oh, poor me, or poor you, or poor whatever, when, you know what, that doesn't work. Okay, we know it doesn't work. You know what? You get a bunch of people come up and say, "Oh, I'm sorry for you." I don't need you to be sorry for me. That's the one thing I say to a lot of people. Don't be sorry for what I'm living. That belongs to me. It doesn't belong to you. So how can you have sorry for something that you don't know what I'm living from within the inside? It's for me to acknowledge where I am with my mind, where I am with my health, where am I with my physical presence in the here and now. And this is being grounded. One of the things I talk about, you all of you know me, and those that listen to me, I talk about earth, I talk about Gaia, I talk about the natural elements and how important it is. It is not just to acknowledge what's going on around us, it's to acknowledge where we are in the here and now, connected to the physical realm of this earth. Your soul can be connected to the cosmos. Your spirit can be connected to whatever, okay? But your physical vessel is connected on this earth, what you walk upon. So everything you breathe, everything you see is either going to make you smile or it's not going to make you smile. If what you're smelling in the air is ugly and dirty and polluted, well, it works on the mind. It's not just working on, you know, the physical side of things. It's working on your mind. It's working on your spirit. You're fighting 3 realms. Your body's trying to stay healthy. Your mind is going alert symbols, and your spirit on the inside is listening to the heart that says, you know what, get the F out of here. You know, you can't breathe. So It's like this. We're in this trinity. Okay, always consistently in a trinity of existence. And as a human, that means body, this vessel, okay, mind, and my spirit. What am I putting into my mind? What am I putting on my body? And what am I welcoming into my spirit to empower my spirit to be stronger? Am I surrounded by positive, uplifting people, or am I surrounded with a bunch of dogmas and stigmas and drama and all of this, and then sitting in the corner going like, what am I doing here? You know, like, why? Why do I have to engage in drama? Okay, when what I should be engaging in is the verbos, like how am I carrying myself? How am I speaking? How am I receiving? And if the receiving end of it means that I'm being bombarded by the negativity coming in from a million directions, I have a choice to make: engage or disengage. If I engage in it, I own it. If I disengage, I still own it. But now I walk away from what would have taken me down into the humdrums, the darkness, the negativity, the pessimism, all the stories that are just spinning around, and coming back to the same point, but there's no point in the whole conversation. And we've lost this art of communication. We used to be able to, used to. Okay, maybe I'll give my age away a little bit. Okay, sitting at a table with family and friends over a meal and discussing and laughing and sometimes even crying, sharing stories. Okay, and sharing a meal. Nobody left the table before anybody else did. Everybody stayed at the table until everybody was done. And now it's like it's a 3-second. Who ate first? Out the door. Who ate second? Up to your room. And in between there, we're texting each other. Like, really? Like, that's total mindfuckery. Okay. And I refuse to engage in this type of communication structure. And some say, well, you're not paying attention. Well, I'm not paying attention to what my phone is doing. I'm paying attention to what's happening around me, to be aware of my space, my environment. Okay, very, very important to be aware of my environment. Very important to be aware of what I'm receiving in information or exchange into my mind, but also what am I feeding my spirit? What am I feeding my soul? That's kind of where I am with it. I can go on and on and on, but I got to give time to the others to speak.
Yes, indeed, Gary. And we are so much occupied in this world with the technology, notifications, and social media, and sharing and videos, and there are so many things are going on. And in such, we are living in such a world, in such a environment. It is very difficult to focus on, and anything. The thing about mental health that it could happen to anyone. It just we are how much vulnerable we are. Anything could happen. Something happens in your family and you are impacted by mental health, and it's going to impact you directly or indirectly. There are things that are uncontrollable. For instance,
True.
look at the present situation. We are living in a world where you have to wear something on your face, and whether you like it or not, and they will go to the bar or go to the hotel or restaurant. They will even let you in if you are not wearing something.
Then I'll sleep
I'm
on the
not gonna
street.
say the name. Yes,
Because
and
you know what? I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't. You know what? I don't care how far it gets pushed. I truly don't. For 18 months, I have not worn a mask, and I've had this discussion a number of times. Okay, I'm not going about in arrogance. I'm not going about I have the right to. I have one right, a God-given right to breathe. And I hold that right above all rights because that is the natural law. That has got nothing to do with any of this bogus stuff that's going on, that's ripping people apart, ripping families apart, Okay. I mean, there's families that end, they're beating each other up. One's on one side of the fence, the other's on the other side of the fence. You imagine a couple and one wants to wear it and the other one doesn't want to wear it. I mean, like, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And now I'm going to move to Jackie.
Yeah.
Jackie, how smiling, how important it is laughter, smiling in such an environment, in such uh, I would say, a very controlled and suffocating environment. How important smile and laughter is
Oh,
for mental health.
it's everything, isn't it? Because even smiling when you're not feeling great can release all the hormones that instill all the same chemicals in your body that feel good chemicals. So even when you don't feel great, just keep smiling anyway, because it will shift something in your body. And laughter, I've got a couple of things on my phone that are my go-to things that just make me laugh all the time. So when I'm not feeling great, I'll get up this little list of things and watch a few little short clips of just funny things, people laughing, and we know that there's groups all around the world, especially like India, I think was one of the in India was one of the first places to begin this these laughter groups where you just all get together and just one person starts laughing, and it's really infectious, as we know. Like sometimes you're laughing at someone just laughing because you can't help when it's that deep belly laugh, and what it does too. Like sometimes you're laughing at someone just anything like that is just so good for shaking up your body and loosening up all those dark sort of, depressing sort of energies in your body as well. So dancing, jumping around, laughing, shaking your body, just getting just the energy, just shifting a little bit, loosening up and then release it, all that kind of stuff is really good. And especially, these days when people are wearing masks, and I'm like Gary, I've never owned a mask. But, that's where we're not seeing that disconnection is happening because we're not getting to see people smile.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think, all this stuff is to awaken something in us. And we're realizing just the importance of smiling to people now. So I smile at everyone I walk past now when I'm on my walk, when I'm conscious and aware of it. Sometimes I can be in my own little mind. And you realize even if they're wearing a mask, you can see somebody smile in their eyes. And I think that connection, we talked about it last week, of now we're connecting with people's eyes and we can see the emotion. If I hid my face, you can see I'm smiling now, right? Because that's, because you've got that connection in your eyes, and you can tell whether, if you look into somebody's eyes, the eyes being, looking into somebody's soul, as some people will say, just how important it is, that connection with people that we've got. So in a way, I'm not, everything's got a purpose, and I believe this mask wearing is really teaching us something about how important it is to be connected, and especially connected to ourselves in this point in time. We really have to sit with our own emotions, let all the emotions arise, and it can be a difficult time. I've had to kind of extricate myself from all social media, all the posts. People send me so much stuff with so many videos, and I'm just not watching any of it anymore because as soon as I put it on, even as soon as I see the post, it's just like, oh, I can feel my energy just dropping. Yeah. I know everything that's going on. I know it all exists. I'm aware of a lot of stuff, and I don't need to see it constantly in my face to, when I'm trying to keep a high vibration. And that's what it's all about.
So,
Keep the vibration for yourself. There's many ways to, sorry, Ahsan.
You are absolutely right. You are choosing to focus on yourself. You are not letting those posts and sharing to distract you from your own peace of mind and from your own state of mind, which is you. And your me time is more important. And you just have to smile. And speaking of laughter therapy, Jody, have you ever done laughter therapy?
Yeah. I laugh pretty much on a consistent basis. I kind of like follow Gary's little program, and it's being implemented down into my children, where Gary had just met my oldest son, and I listened to what Gary says. Like, Gary just reinforced it earlier, and he had said something along the lines of, don't focus on it. If you don't focus on it, it doesn't become yours. So I realized that I put that information down to my children. And there's a bunch of insanity going on around me as well. I get bombarded with tons of posts. This is going on in this area. This is going on in this area. And I try not to get involved. A lot of times I get sucked into it. But I find that when I get sucked into it, it's very mentally draining. So a good outlet for me is I go to boxing quite, like weekly. And two of my children are involved in martial arts. And I try to stay grounded. I found that when I was trying to engage in the mind fuckery, when this huge pandemic came out initially in the beginning, that it was just too much for me. Now I have to step back. Like, my friend sent me a video. She lives in Florida. She lives in an apartment complex. I mean a condo association, and they have a pool. Somebody was actually swimming with a mask on in the pool. The owner of the condo management association had to put a sign before you enter the pool that masks are not allowed to be worn while you're swimming. If people are not, I just say, okay. I was laughing, but it's like people are so conditioned that it just becomes more and more absurd. None of it makes any sense. And it's like, I can't explain to these people, you don't drive in your car with two masks on and roll the window up, because the Brazilian variant isn't going to catch you in your back seat. Like, I went to the grocery store a little while ago, and I had, when it first came out, and some lady was like walking by me. I'm in the taco aisle, and she says, "Oh, you're going in the wrong direction." None of it even makes sense. So I turned around and I screamed at her. I said, "Why don't you mind your effing business?" I said, "If I take the tacos off the shelf, is the Brazilian variant going to jump out at me?" I mean, it's just crazy. None of it makes sense. But you have people, ooh, wear one mask, wear two masks. It's just crazy. I don't have time to engage. So I continue to meditate. I engage with people who are higher consciousness. I'm learning about myself spiritually. I do boxing, and that's it. I'm not about engaging in drama or negativity that I can't resonate with. It's just, it sucks the life out of me. My energy is very valuable. I'm addicted to Gary's teachings, as Gary will tell you. I learn his teachings, and hey, I'm new on my spiritual journey. I have a lot of growing to do, like everybody else does. We all have. We're all evolving at a different level. You know what I mean? And the timelines are just crazy. So I listen faithfully to Gary, and I go in tow with him.
Yes, indeed.
I have 3 kids. Gary says something that has a trickle effect. Yeah. Jodie's son here, moving.
Like,
life is good.
Adrian just asked a question. He says, "Where's the love in all of this?" And
the love in all of this?
Love has a lot to do with it, but we also have to be realistic. Okay, there's a certain realism to what's going on. I mean, I'm all about love. I'm all about the power of love, the power of healing of love, about listening to things that are lovely, about looking at things that are lovely, about, smiling, because it's part of that love frequency. But we're also faced with a gauntlet, and a gauntlet that is filled with a gauntlet of mental disruption. I'm not going to use mental illness. I'm going to use mental disruption, because we have been disrupted in the entirety of what the power of our mind is by the focus of what's being bombarded on us. We're being bombarded by the governments, the medias, the news, the families, the friends, So far, the animals haven't. They're just watching us, all the mind fuckery that us animals are going in. It's like, maybe there's a reason why that cat flew up the tree. It was like, enough of the mind fuckery down here with all you humans. I'm going to go up and just watch you, bombast yourselves. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that, yes, is going on. And then, the more you listen to it, if you really focus on it, yes, it's going to bring you down. Okay. You can't tell me that after watching the news for 60 minutes that you have a smile. Okay. If you do, then you weren't watching the news. You must have been focusing on something else. Okay. And it's all a choice. We all have a choice. We have a choice to smile just as much as we have a choice to wear a mask, just as much as we have a choice to take the jab or not. Okay. But we're being separated. Okay. And pulled away from the whole core of where we are as humans going forward and the evolution of humanity. We have a golden opportunity in our hands. We know what's wrong. And then there isn't one person in the world that cannot acknowledge and say, well, no, that's okay. That's good. We'll follow this route and we'll follow that route. It's about bringing peoples back together in unity. And I've said it many times, it's regardless of color, creed, language, walk of life, what part of the world you live in, whether you live in a tree or you live in a multi-million-dollar condo. Okay? It has no relevance when it comes down to the core of what makes you a human and a likable human. Now, there's a key word, likable human. Okay? How many do we walk out the door? Do we say, well, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like the way you're walking. I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like, oh, you had too much garlic on your breath. You got boom. Okay. And we're slamming ourselves because we're doing it to ourselves. We're allowing this that is maybe a personal problem. Maybe, I ate too much garlic. I'm smelling my own garlic breath and I'm blaming it on somebody else. It's we got to pull back from this ping pong game. And it truly is a ping pong game because we're throwing the ball. Here, catch. It's yours. Rather than own up to who you are. Okay, well, what are your morals? What are your beliefs? What are your truths? Where's your heart? Okay, what are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your body? What are you feeding your environment? This aspect of love is not just I love a person. Love is about love of life. Okay, in prana, what we use by the word of pranic practices, prana is the life source. It's where's your life? Where's your life source of you? Are you part of what everybody else is? Or are you that individual light that is, trying to gather more momentum and more purpose and more understanding and more openness and more wisdom? When we look at the chakras, they're actually steps of wisdom. What is the root chakra? What is the wisdom of the root of being grounded? Well, what is grounding? Okay, is it what? Because you think you wear rubber shoes that you're grounded? Well, no, you're not. Okay, grounding is being in the awareness of where you are in your space, nature, the skies, the birds, the bees, the animals, the children laughing. All of this is part of that aspect of grounding yourself into presence. In the very moment of life. You can think all you want about tomorrow, but it hasn't happened. You can plan to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, go have breakfast, meet a bunch of people, but maybe you're going to walk out the front door and you weren't aware of where you were walking, and now you get hit by a bus. Now you don't make breakfast. So, coming back to where are you? Where are you with self? Where are you as Jodie? Where are you with self? Where are you, Jackie, with self? Where are you, Ahsan, as self, as the individual human being that has this beautiful spirit, beautiful heart on the inside of you? Where are you with this?
Yes, indeed. And it is a choice. It is a choice that you have to make. Give yourself a time, avoid distraction, focus on yourself. I think the key to mental health is within yourself. The time and energy, the focus, the concentration you give to yourself, that's right there. And Jackie, I want to move it to you. The very important thing about the thing that is impacting mental health is the loss of deep conversation. Okay, people are in social media and this environment, we are in the digital media, social media environment. It has created a culture of chit chat. You do things, okay, how you doing? I'm doing good, giving likes, thumbs up, and heart signs. That's it. But we are not engaging with people, the deep conversation, just like we are having right now, giving time, being quiet in the company of other person. It's not boring. It's enjoying the company of the other person and just sitting there. It makes you feel good if you give yourself a time. Perhaps you may disagree that okay, it will be boring in the beginning, but after some time you will realize that the company of the other person in the quietness is is something. What do you think about deep conversation that we are losing in this
Well,
world?
deep conversation. Look, everything's subjective, isn't it? It's how we feel about everything personally and how we relate to everything personally. It's all coming from your own perspective, own point of view. But yeah, deep conversation, I mean, a lot of times we can't even get together these days to have that deep conversational things with people. So, but it is really important to be able to speak to people and communicate with people. But not only that, it's with yourself, just communicating and checking in with yourself as well. And I get what Adrian's saying, like, where's the love in all this? Because this is where we have to appreciate that everything is in its own divine timing here, and it's really to recognize that it's an amazing time to be alive here, because this kind of thing's never really happened before in such a technologically advanced age. So for us to sort of accept where we're at the moment and to be holding our own vibration in this moment is our challenge, I think, because it's very difficult in this day and age to not be influenced by a lot of things around us. And like, if we just kind of explore everything that we're challenged with, and just and recognize it for it is, it's a challenge and it's a test, and to just keep maintaining that vibration, help where we can if others want our help, and but the deep conversation, yeah, it's really lovely to have deep conversations, because again, we've been really dumbed down and programmed not to be able to think through education systems and other systems, every system actually, because the system is so limiting. So even going to uni, like, it's, you're stuck in that mode of thinking of what you've learned and can't think outside the box sometimes, because you get to thinking that you're right and everyone else is wrong and all that kind of stuff. But where the deep conversation happens is, like you said, Ahsan, is listening. It's so good to be in somebody's company and even not have to talk. There's a lot to be said for the silence as well. So, but yeah, it's very important to be able to communicate and have. That's why we're here, really, relationships, isn't it? Especially the relationship with ourselves within and with those around us. And I think Gary touched on too the toxic relationships. It's time to let those go. If you really feel like they're bringing your vibration down, or there's no way of resolving things. It's great if you can see that people want to help themselves, but as Adrian was saying, people have their own journey, and sometimes by our interference, we're in the guise of us trying to help, because we are helpful. We want to help people. We don't like seeing suffering, but sometimes in the helping, you're not allowing, especially when you impose yourself on someone, you're not allowing their own journey in this whole thing. So, you know, but the deep conversation, the listening element is so important. People just want to be heard, and listening is all about, you know, not having your own, like while somebody's talking, you know, thinking up your own answers to something or questions or something you want to say. It's all about really listening and having, and that's where you're really good, Ahsan. I really appreciate, like, you actually listen and then you come up with the questions. You know, it's not like you have these preordained, you know, pre-written questions down. You actually listen to the conversation and then, you know, come up with your questions as you go. So I really appreciate that you do that.
And thank you so much, Jackie. Now, Jody, what do you think about this deep conversation with the other
I'm sorry,
person?
Hassan. Why you
Why?
talk very softly?
Okay. Is it good? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Little bit better.
you speak very softly. I
Okay.
think for
Is it,
I think for me,
it, softly, is it good or bad?
no, it's good. It's just I can't really hear you.
You got to
Okay.
turn your
Okay.
volume up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, let me check. I think it is up. Okay, I'm gonna speak a bit louder. Jody, what do you
That's
think
better.
about what do you think about deep conversation and deep conversation with yourself and with the other person, and how important listening is in all the process, in all this process?
I find I can have deep conversations with people who I can relate to, who are awake. I find it very, very frustrating when you got the two timelines playing out, you know, the 3D and the 5D. I find it very, very frustrating for me. Like I go to Bible study. I wanted to, but the vast majority there are into the one mask or the two masks, the jabs. They're signing up for the boosters. I just checked out. That to me, I don't resonate with. It drives me absolutely bonkers. I have 3 kids. Um, 2 of them got jabbed, 1 didn't, and I found that I was very, very furious with that. But then I have to realize I had to pull back, and I had to realize that each soul has their own journey. Everybody's on a different timeline. Everybody's on a different evolution journey. I can only guide, but I just pull back because I find myself when I try to have deep conversations about some topics with some people, I get very, very. I'm the type of person that I can become a little bit overly passionate, which will come off as being aggressive, but it's not. So I sit in my truth, and my truth doesn't always resonate with other people, and that's okay. I've had to pull myself back and say, okay, that's their journey. There's nothing I can do. I can't dictate to everyone. I can only try to speak my opinion. Everybody's got their own level of consciousness, and what's true for one person may not be true for another. So I just realized that there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? I just have to accept. Gary knows the truth about my sister, what happened, which everyone here does. I've cried 1,000 tears because of what's going on. I have 2 sons. I don't know what their fate's going to be. I've spoken passionately, showed lots of loves. At the end of the day, it's not my soul's journey.
Bravo.
They're just energetic
Yes.
imprints that I've left on the universe.
Bravo.
What happens. I can only evolve myself, and at the end of the day, my soul is my soul. It's going to return to the universe, and that's it. You know, there's going to
Yes,
be
indeed.
many that are left behind, and there's many that are gonna rise above. That's why you call it the Great Awakening.
Yes,
I don't
indeed.
have time to
And
hang with a sheep.
Wow, Jody.
yes, and Gary, it is what
And the funny thing is that the sheep in my family are the ones that are doing martial arts. My middle son that went to Asia, that won the Matoi for the heavyweight division. My little one that's supposed to be in the ring. I guess I don't know. Life's upside down.
No, it's not, Jodie. Everything's happening for a reason. Okay. And what you just said is you acknowledge that everybody's soul is on their own journey. And that's one of the biggest tools that you can have going through all of this is that as much as we want to save others, as much as like, you know what, I gave up. It's not that I don't want to save people. Okay. I just realized that I can't do the work for them if they're not willing to do the work for themselves. I can show by example, doesn't mean follow my example. I'm just being who I want to be, not what anybody wants me to be, but who I want to be. And choosing rightly to engage with those that are, are positive. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear the bullshit. Seriously, I'm aware of it. I know what's going on with it. And if you do your research, you start to see things, okay? And you start to really question. And the whole thing about doing that research is so that you can inform yourself. Be aware of what's going on around the world, but I can't stop what's going on in Afghanistan. I can't stop what's happening to, what's going on in Australia, my friends there. And I watch some of the snippets of the news and okay, my heart goes out to, the people of Australia as it goes out to everybody. But I'm not willing to sacrifice myself for anybody anymore. I did that for far too long. I did that far, far, far too long. And believe me, at the end of it, you're the one that's picking yourself up off the floor because you sacrificed yourself for the sake of another. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I won't put myself in front of danger, oncoming danger, to protect those that I love. But I won't sacrifice my mental health to please another. That means if I'm not going to just agree with you for the sake of agreeing. You're entitled to your truth, your story, your perspective, just like I am to my story, my perspective. Difference is that I'm not going to try and change your perspective. You need to see it for yourself. And what I'm seeing with you, Jodie, and what I'm seeing with Jackie as well, okay, and even Ahsan is that over this time that we've been communicating and, doing these lives and, you join in my lives, I'm seeing how far you've grown. Because if you go back to the first time that I met both of you, I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Jackie, you're a golden glow and, and it's showing. It's showing something clicked in you that allowed you to go through your own process. You saw what was going on. Jodie, my heart goes out to you, what's happened to your family, to your loved ones, and everything. But what you said, what was very, very, very empowering was you acknowledged that it's their soul, their life, their experiences. And all we can do is be a guide. We're not a teacher. Anybody that proclaims to be a teacher is not a teacher. You're the teacher of self. You choose what you want to believe in. Nobody's going to force it to you. If they're forcing and you choose to believe it, always remember you chose to believe it. So you are the teacher. You're a teacher of self. I don't teach another. I'm a curator. I curate a story, a path, and now you get to walk the path. You choose. You can walk off the path. You can climb up a tree like the cat did. It belongs to you. And the hardest thing about love is letting others voluntarily evolve. Burn this into your forehead, because letting others voluntarily evolve allows them to be free in who they are. And that means they're free to be what they believe in. They're free to be what they see. It doesn't belong to me. What belongs to me is that I walk towards a higher light, a higher vibration, a higher purpose. I want to laugh. I want to dance. I want to sing. I want to create. Okay. I love creating. Okay. And that is something that we all have. And I believe that wholeheartedly, and I'll believe it till like my last breath, I think, until you prove me wrong. Right, Jackie?
Yeah. Yes. And I think, getting back to mental health, it's all about that, looking deep inside ourselves. And, to be honest, when we say we're sacrificing ourselves, or, all I could do is, give people my point of view, you're still kind of in some way expecting that they'll take your point of view on, or, see your way of thinking. And it's really not about that in some ways, is it? It's finding their own truth. And who's to say, like, all this stuff that we're watching and learning and we think we know best, and why aren't people listening to us? Why aren't people getting it? Well, who are we to say that we are right? We're only getting secondhand information. It's only the other day I remember somebody posted something like, all the truckies have blocked the highway from, one end of Queensland to the city, to Brisbane. And I thought, oh, really? That's fantastic. And then I thought, no, I'm going to have a look for myself, right? So I went up to the highway, 25 minutes, half an hour away, nothing. And I thought, okay, this is a little lesson for me. Like, don't get, your emotions go up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic, they're doing this, and oh, thank God. And then it's like, okay, I'm not going to take anything on board anymore until I've seen it and experienced it for myself. And, and what sits right for me, I'm going to sit with my intuition, sit with my guidance, and try and go within a lot more. And just doing that, we were talking about meditation too, Gary. That was one of the suggestions before this. And it's so important, isn't it, just to sit, get some sort of silence in your mind, and it doesn't come easy with the busy minds that we've got in this day and age, because, we're geared to just worry and look at everything and judge everything, instead of just sitting in wonder and silence, like you were saying with meditation. It's so important to do that, just to relax and just go into meditation. And it can, it just can be for a few minutes at a time. There's some really great apps, especially for mental health, the breathing apps. There's one called Headspace. I don't know if anyone's heard of that one. Headspace is a really good one. You can do controlled breathing. It also explains a lot about mental health in really easy terms, easy terms that everyone can get. And it's all just, for me, mental health is just about doing what you really love and enjoy to do. And even when in those darkest moments when you think there's not a way out, just finding some faith somewhere else, finding that there's just remembering that there's a bigger picture to this, and that you will get through things. You will get through it, just tiny little steps at a time sometimes. And that's all it takes, just a little tiny move forward. And then you might go back a bit, but just keep going, and have faith, have trust that there's somebody watching out for you as well, whether it's your higher self, or you believe in a God, or whatever you believe, just in nature. Believe in the power of nature, and just try and dissipate some of that energy in your body, or like with depression, get up and watch the sun. We talked about sun gazing. How can you not see the wonder in something like that, even if it's just a tiny bit for now? Just look at the wonder in things, and just how amazing everything is around you, and how your body just functions, those automatic things that go on in your body. Just have gratitude and awe for things, just to try and lift your spirits a little bit. It seems we're on the path of keeping up our mental health. So as we know,
is a tool.
Yes,
like you said, stargazing.
Yes, you're so right, Gary. Everything can be a tool.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes.
It can just be simple things, very simple things.
And And I was apologies that I was just there was some power disruptions and I was gone and it just
You went for
came.
breakfast again.
I know,
No,
out with
no,
his mates
no,
having a
no.
beer
I just
somewhere.
Are you having
no,
a beer because it's like really hot out or something? You know, it's like,
no, no. I agree the weather is hard, but I was there was power disruption. Power was gone and I was out. There was no internet, nothing, and
oh,
I
we just
just
thought
came back.
you darkened the screen because I was going to say something, but I won't.
Hey, we talked about the
Okay.
best things too, didn't we, Gary?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you missed
Missed it all,
a
Hassan.
whole realm of
Come
things
on.
there.
Okay,
Jody disappeared
I'll give you.
someplace. But
Yeah.
getting
No,
back to tools.
Jody, Jody just texted. She is just gone. She's not gonna join us anymore. Anyways, I was just the thing I was going to say earlier that there are things that you don't have out of your control, and I think I mentioned it last week, and I think it's also important here that there are things that you cannot control in this world. The things are happening. People are just being needle into their arms, and there are things. The news, the social media, people are talking about you. These are all of these external factors, and they
Yes.
are just happening, and they will always be happening. You just don't have to pay attention on them. You just have to focus on yourself. Once you learn to focus on yourself, I think that's the key is there. And just smile. And
Uh, As long as your
Gary,
focus is not in the sense of a self egotistical way,
Hmm.
there's a key to that as well. Focusing on yourself is like, how am I growing? What are my beliefs? What am I now understanding? And how am I interacting with those around me as I'm focusing on myself? Being aware of my choice of words, being aware of my actions, being aware of how I look at somebody, being aware of, smiling. All of this, it's all part of the toolkit that you all have. We all have this toolkit. A smile is a tool, laughter is a tool. A book is a tool. Music is a tool. Food is a tool. How you treat your skin is actually one of the most fundamental tools because it sets your day. If you rush yourself, then on goes the makeup and out the door you go, what have you done? You've put yourself right up to a maximum stress level before you've even stepped out the door. One of the things that I like teaching is about how to love your skin, because you're giving energy back to yourself. And as you take the time, and you're caressing, it's like, oh, dang, that feels good. And especially if you're using something that's good for your skin
I
rather
agree,
than,
Gary.
you know,
I agree. Like, there's something so special about actually giving yourself touching and
oh my God, yeah.
massaging yourself. We often do that after yoga, and you start with your head, and it's just massaging your head and your
Yeah, yeah.
ears and your face, and it just, you're giving something to yourself. That touch of yourself, and making every part of your body feel wanted, and every nook and cranny, as they say. You got to get,
Everything, even
yeah,
moving your hands,
yeah, absolutely.
like rubbing your hands. In a moment of stress, I teach people an acupressure point technique. When your stress raises, this fleshy part
Mm.
right in between there, okay, put your thumb into it, push, and massage on the top.
That's so good for headaches too, Gary.
Oh, headaches,
That
stress
headaches.
points,
Yeah.
blood pressure, breathing, because it's a very key acupressure point. You have 41 key acupressure points on your hands, bottom of your feet, even in your
Mm.
face. Certain pressure points. Okay? These pressure points react to body, react to your inner organ functions, react to the mind. So how you treat this and the rest of your body is also part of a tool. Treat it well, it responds well. Treat it not well, it doesn't respond well. And then
Mm.
there's also the way that you're treating your skin is actually affecting your mental stability. And somebody says, well, how's that affecting my mental stability? Well, if I go into that one, it'll take me an hour to explain. Okay. But
Yes, indeed.
just be
And I think
aware that what you put
there's
on your
there's a
skin is just as important as what you put into your body. And how you eat is just as important as how you treat your skin. If a Tibetan
and
monk takes 2 hours to eat one meal and one glass of water and chews to both sides, how come we do it in 3 minutes and then consider ourselves, well, okay, I'm good? Really?
yes. And Jody, can you? Okay, Gary, can any of you share the link with Adrian, the StreamYard link, because he just wanted to join in, and I think we should
Yeah, I was just going to
finish our
point that
discussion.
out.
We should. We'll finish our discussion with Adrian, and
Yep. Just hold on a second before I run out of battery power here. One second.
okay.
Can I just say
Adrian,
too, you know,
just
that what Gary was just saying and what Adrian touched on too is that we're, you know, when we start sun gazing and doing things like that, it's like we're bringing in that energy into our body just to raise that vibration as well, you know, and we're almost like conduits on this earth, all human beings, because we bring in the energy, we send it down into Mother Earth, we're bringing it up from Mother Earth through our body and taking it out again. So just to accept that energy too, that you know, Earth has to give us is really important.
Well, one of the
I think
things, if I don't, you saw the post that I put out about the products and about the pranic care system and everything like that. There's a reason why I brought this out now. These are formulations I've had for over 12 years, but I brought them out now to reintroduce them because there's a great need for it. And, you know, to treat this with love is just as important as it is to treat another with love. It's just as important as to treat your body with love because it's a tool. I mean, believe me, when you take the time to really, you know, like caress your skin, feel it, and most men are going to look at me and go like, I haven't got time to do that. Okay, fine. You know what? Then you're missing out on something because it makes my day. When I start out and I wash my skin rightly and I'm putting on products that I know are safe and clean and they smell good and I can mix them up and I can adjust it to the routine that my skin requires, it sets my day. If I rush out the door and don't do anything to it, believe me, I'm feeling lethargic. I am feeling blech, okay? But now I set my pace because I've treated myself rightly. I've treated myself with care. I've treated myself with love. I've treated myself with attention. Hey, Adrian, okay? And by doing that, I'm stronger. I'm more in my heart space. And in fact, I've empowered myself because I feel so good about what I've done that doesn't matter what's going on because I feel good about myself. The way I dress, I feel good about myself. It's not about dressing in style. And this is where a lot of the mindfuckery comes in and the mental, the mental stresses. Like, like how many children, I got to wear what she's wearing. I got to have what she's having. I got to have the ripped jeans. Well, like, you want ripped jeans? Come see me. I got a pair of scissors and a sandblaster and I'll fix them up for you. Okay. It's all of these things add into it. A lot of youth
yes,
today.
indeed.
A lot of youth are
Yes,
so
indeed.
lost because they're running after fashion, they're running after technology, and then somewhere along the line, they're trying to figure out what's going on with the rest of the world. It's like,
Okay, welcome, Adrian.
Hi,
Adrian, there's a
Adrian.
thing I want to know. Adrian, I want to talk to you. That doing things that you love. For instance, you do making video, making pictures, and going out, spending time in the nature, smiling, giggling, all of these little things, the things that you do that makes you feel happy. How important it is to give yourself a me time and in the mental health.
Look, it's of paramount importance. And firstly, thanks for allowing me to come. Before I want to get into anything, I want to say that with the pain that is being felt around the planet at this point in time, and the frustration, the anxiety, the chaos, the disbandment of families and origins of what we fundamentally knew, it is only an illusion, okay? It is only an illusion. It is a puppetry element that is taking place, and we are being tested with every breath in which we take. Now, it's not hard to pull yourself away from the thing in its entirety. You will always get pulled back the more that you absorb into the space of what is that whole culture of storyline, and you want to propel back there. That is not testing yourself. The test is to pull away from that in its entirety. As many carrots that are dangled in front of you to speak truth about a story which is taking place, it is not your story. It is the story of all of us, but it is the story of many. We are the story of few. The few story is that there is something further than what we now know. There is something different that is new, that has the ability for the messages that haven't been heard, the sufferance that hasn't been dealt with, to actually take place in that new. There is a demise that is imminent. We cannot stop that. We were never able to stop that. The power that we have within self, the finding of being able to not exhaust ourselves in that place, that's the most difficult thing to do. The finding of love of self, you can consider that all the time, because we have been broken so many times through this life that we have always had to find self as love to bring us back. Mm-hmm. And as much as we took that, we use that as an advantage. Let's just simply use that as a home skill now in the separation of everything. Because the carrots that will be dangled over the next couple of months are a test personally to each and every one of us to whether or not we do have the capacity to withdraw completely and start new. Start with that refreshing clarity that we are able to create. Because the more people that confuse themselves, the more that will find that lost quandary of existence. Then they find the element that is what we are talking about, what we have always spoken about, that fracturing of love that still exists within all of us, each and every one of us, but with no classification, because we have never taken it anywhere apart from ourselves. It's that little hidden secret, that treasure that we carry for the survival in which we've had. Inspiring those to find that within themselves now is of the ultimate plane. Yeah. Everything else is just a hindrance to what we are and why we are taking this journey. It's easy to jump on that side of the fence and yell. It's more difficult to stay in resilience and build a new culture, a new existence that everybody will come to, because that is all that they are only seeking once the illusion of what they're talking about breaks them. That's the reality of what we're facing. Those who truly have been broken will understand that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it may seem, I think it doesn't matter however we start the discussion, it all comes down to the one thing. It is to yourself, focus on yourself and the love. Love is the solution. Mother Nature is the solution. Gary, what are your final thoughts on mental health and self-love, significance of self-love and nature, and how all of this, the role of all of these elements in building the mental health?
Well, final thoughts. Well, Earth is our life. Without Earth, our life and existence that we understand it right now just doesn't exist. We need this Earth just as much as we need companionship, just as much as we need communication, just as much as we need love between peoples. And in order to find love between peoples, we have to find love with self. If we don't have love with the self, we're not going to find love with peoples. We're not going to find love with anything, because we're in the old narrative. We're in our stories, our traumas, our triggers. And one of the things that I focus on is the aspect of love of self. I mean, it's more important for me for the love of self, because that empowers me to go forward and share my stories. That empowers me to share the tools that I know that work. No matter time and time again, they work. But if you don't put the effort into them, it's not going to work. And the mental overload that we're faced with is also the choice of the engagements that we choose. If we choose to engage in the negative, if we choose to engage in, the matrix and the falsified stories, we're setting ourselves up for the downfall. We should be focusing on love and rebuilding communities and rebuilding hope and faith. It's not the religions of the world, it's not the governments of the world, and it's not the Cracker Jack box surprises. Okay, there's no surprise to life. Life is living in frequent evolution. So LIFE, live in frequent evolution. If you do this, you're living in presence. Be aware of who you are, where you are, and what you're bringing into your space. It doesn't mean shut your doors and say fuck the world. We can't say fuck the world, as many of us do. Many of us blame the world, and we blame our higher powers, and we blame our mothers and our fathers and our, all the stories of yesterdays. The only person we have to blame at the end of the day is ourselves. I wake with myself. I sleep with myself. I dream with myself. I play. I was going to careful. And what I mean by playing with myself for the audience does not mean,
please. No,
the other side of things. Playing means be playful in life. Life is a game. Choose to play the game the way that you wish to play the game. But play fair. Be fair with you and fair with others. That's about all I can really add to that at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And Jackie, your final thoughts. Jackie.
Going back to mental health, I just want to, firstly say to people that are struggling that they can reach out to any of us.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few people's comments. I'm not on the right channel, I don't think, to see everyone's. And I did notice Patricia was here. And thank you, Patricia, for joining us. I just want to say, it's all a journey within ourselves. Just tuning and try and tune into yourself regularly all the time. Try and have mindfulness about every little thing that you do. The simplest of things, just check in with yourself. And that love that you have for yourself, that's there, even though you don't think it's there, that love is there, deep within. Maybe a little bit hidden and you think it's gone away. But, there's a bigger thing at play here, and you're all very loved, and there's a lot of love for yourself too if you just search down and remember it, basically. But when you're having, my final thought, I guess, is when you see people and you're engaging with anyone, just even if it's a smile like we were talking about, try and have it in your mind just to leave people in a better vibration than when you met them. So when you're seeing them, maybe don't talk about everything that's going on in the world, because that's going to bring everything down again. Just try to leave them in with a little bit of a better vibration than you actually first encountered them with. And just be mindful that everyone's going through a difficult time in some ways, their own challenges, but as we've talked about, that's their life journey.
Yes, indeed. And okay, and 18, your final thoughts on mental health and building and improving mental health.
Mental health is no one's concern apart from your own. If you are not willing to tackle your own mental health, you cannot help anybody else tackle mental health. if you do not know the truest of what you are and where you find yourself, you are unable to assist in any way. Anything that you say is chaotic because it's not dealt with to its entirety of what you hold as an individual being, that has changed from physical to light energy, the understanding of evolution in which we face. What you say will always be around you. What you sit silent with will just be as much energy, if not more pure, because nobody has heard it. It is your truest feelings. It is your truest element of vibration in which you hold. So just have those simple thoughts. Mental health is yours to own. Nobody else can conflict anything or add to it. It's only you listening or completely shifting away from that is lesser of you. The empowerment itself is all that this is.
I love you, Adrian.
I love you guys. And I was sitting there and it's so, there's so much that you want to say. Like, there's so much happening in Australia. There's so much happening in Canada, around the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But that was always going to happen. That was never not going to happen. And you've got to give grace to the fact that you guys and everybody watching has seen that forthcoming. Okay? And in their forthcoming attempts, they were unable to stop it.
Yeah.
So what does that say about the power in which they thought that they held in relaying that message consistently? It's incited a lot of people and put them into a funnel that really they're just dripping out now and being charged with and accused of and made martyrs of.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about. That's not what we were doing this for. That's certainly not why I'm doing this.
Yeah. I'm with you all the ways on that one, Adrian. I think you know where I stand too, and Jackie, and as well as Ahsan. We can all talk about the stuff that's going on. Of course we can. Okay, but who's talking about solutions? Who's talking about raising the vibrations? Who's talking about raising acceptance of the human species and coming together in unity? Who's talking about the tools and the things that we can do to share in music or in verbos, or playing a card game, or like sometimes having you on live with me, Adrian, and you get you to play some music. Life is
fluff. That's just fluff, dude. That's just fluff. The reality is the heart in which you speak from, with no thought of mind, no thought of story, no congestion of any other apart from the true valued space of life. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That is where it comes from. Nothing else. The consistency of all of the other is just the debacle in which they want us to fall in. We all know that. You are smarter than I. We are all of the same intellectual space because we are reading from the vibration that is allowed at the highest.
Yep.
At the highest, which is not convoluted. It's not congested. It's there to be able to be created for the new. That is the reason as to why all of this is going on. I watch all of these videos about people under sufferance. The preparation of all of this is for you to have the resilience. It's for you to see how magnificently beautiful you were born and what you stopped from being because we partook in an exercise. That exercise now is coming to its end.
Yeah.
This is all that it is. It's not hard. It's not hard. That's what brings me to tears. That people don't have that validity of self to justify that. That's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Why are you putting yourself through that? What, because of money? Oh my God, because of money. Money's nothing. Money's nothing. In the highest vibration, the pool of money that is available there by the people that already exist on this timeline, they just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
That's where it all is. The creation of new alongside. We all know that, Gary. We can walk away from that. It's a new Costco that's in town. It's People Co. Yeah, that is the evolution, the revolution, all based on love. The truth does not exist in the space of contempt because it's not allowed. It's not allowed. And the belief systems of self is where it changes. Nothing else. If you talk the same talk, it's the same walk you're walking. If you give yourself the acumen to actually justify every action by making yourself credible, then it is a journey partaking in, worth partaking in. Now it's just stepping stones and hurdles and a quandary, a quagmire of chaos. How can you create
Yeah.
in that? Can't create in that. And I'm sorry that I've come on and done this, but
What are you sorry for, Adrian?
No,
no, because
you,
You're expressing
yeah,
feelings, you're
yeah,
expressing truth, you're
what?
being raw, and you're being real. Is that not what the world needs to see? Or do we
No,
want to
but
play a
they
game and
don't.
pull a mask and call myself a Starship Galactic captain, and I'm going to turn around and beam you up to here, and I'm going to beam you all this around? That's a bunch of hogwash. You're
Correct.
being raw and
Correct.
you're being real, and
Correct.
that's what people need to
yeah,
hear. They need to hear the raw truth. They need to hear raw emotion. They need to hear truth of where we're going and how we're ascending through all of this process. And there's a multitude of ways of looking at it. And your viewpoint is more than welcomed. It is actually anticipated to be heard and be shared because it's stepping outside of the box. And in a world that is caving in to the mental stresses, this is what is needed to be seen. And this is what is needed to be shared, to let people know they're not alone, that they're not, they're not crazy, that they're not mentally sick. They need support. We need togetherness and unity and the capacity to listen to each other and share in, our experiences. Because now, to somebody who says, well, I'm the only one going through this, they start to see that somebody else is going through it, different experience, but the same outcome when it comes down to the emotional self and the emotional intelligence that we carry. And I get very emotional just like you do. In fact, I'm holding back because there's a lot of things that are going on. And, in Canada, there's a lot of things going on again. We're back into the whole bunch of stuff. But that doesn't stop me from losing hope, faith, love, conviction, and my morals. Can't take that away from me. Just like they can't take it away from you, Adrian. And to share this journey with you, Jackie and Ahsan, as much as Ahsan is, he kind of observes and pulls in and pulls us back into place, okay, he's also sharing those stories in his part of the world. Okay, and this is, I hear this stuff, and some of it is mind-boggling atrocities, but I don't allow it to get inside my heart. I don't allow it to get inside my soul. My mind, well, it fucks around with it sometimes. Okay, but my heart pulls me back to space, pulls me back to the here and now, and that's what's lovely about you and what you're sharing. And the same thing for anybody that comes on with us or anybody who's listening in the audience is that don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. If you want to believe that your higher power is a butterfly, then believe it's a butterfly. Simple.
yes, indeed. An excellent message, Gary, and beautiful message, Adrian, and thank you, Jackie. And my final thoughts are that there are things that are going on in the world. It is always your choice to focus on yourself, and it is your choice not to focus on the things that are happening around the world. I know they are impacting. They are things that you don't like, you hate. I'm not gonna use the word you hate. There are things that you don't like. They hurt you. They mm, uh, they decrease and lower down your vibration. You don't have to focus on it. It is your choice to focus on the things that raise your vibration and raise your energy, and accept your emotions. Your
Yeah.
emotions are important. and accept yourself and be kind to yourself. And when you do that, this the mental health and significance of mental health, and that's how you can improve mental health. And thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, uh, Erica, Jesse, so many other people. And thank you so much for joining us, for your comments. And I'll acknowledge all of them after finishing the live. And uh, have a good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'll see you next week.